And welcome on back, everyone, to episode 97 of Streaming with the Mouse. Today, we will be talking about Marvel's What If, and this one is What If Thor Was an Only Child? Cam is in Disney, much to, I don't even want to talk about jealousy at this point, but Megan will be joining us again. She was last on with us during Bad Batch, so get ready, and you're listening to Streaming with the Mouse. And welcome on back, everyone, to another episode of Streaming with the Mouse. My name is Clifton Paul Robinson, and joining me, not as always, is my friend and someone that will fill in now the second time. So now you're reoccurring. Now you're a reoccurring guest host,
I guess
Megan Brown.
Good. I guess I did good the first time.
I guess you did. I guess you did good. Megan, how are you doing today?
I am, living the dream. Doing good.
Shooting the finger guns, living the dream. This is your first time on for Marvel. You talked about Star Wars last time, but what have been your thoughts on What If as a series so far?
It's been really fun. I think we'll talk more specifically about like the overarching things that I've been noticing, but it's been such a fun series to just see these different things and different storylines with like slightly different, like what if this one thing changed and how that would impact not only that person, but like the rest of the universe. So it's really cool.
And it mostly ends with Tony Stark dying. But no, I think fun is the best word for it.
Yeah.
It's not always like hard hitting, incredible, but fun. And I think I can speak for both of us and many other people where this episode specifically, What If Thor Was an Only Child, was extremely fun, but in very much like just a chaotic way.
Oh yeah, and the only episode I would say was not fun is the Doctor Strange episode. That was just heartbreaking repeatedly.
I know you're not fully caught up, but I mentioned this last episode where I saw a meme that it was like, what if Captain America girl? What if Avengers die? And it was all this. And then it was like, what if Doctor Strange deals with the most heartbreaking event of his entire life over and over again until he completely destroys the universe? And then it was like, what if zombies? And that's really what it is. And this is like, what if Thor dumb? Kind of what?
No, what if Thor frat bro? That's what he
is. What if Thor himbo? And that was a big word that was thrown around as a joke.
Biggest himbo energy in a show I've seen.
Absolutely. But very funny. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. We do have news. The first big one is, I forget if they did this last year, so I'm sorry in advance. Disney Plus Day is coming to Disney Plus on November 12th. And on that day, streaming exclusively on Disney Plus Day, will be Marvel Studios' Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. You've seen that, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. I loved it. Disney's Jungle Cruise. Have not seen that. We'll watch it. I didn't want to pay for it, but I'll watch it.
I've heard great things. My family paid for it on my account and watched it. So I paid for it, but I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, The Rock always has fun movies. Sweet Home Alone. Home Sweet Home Alone, sorry. Disney's Olaf Presents. Disney and Pixar's Ciao Alberto. An all-new short from The Simpsons. They kind of do that now for every major event. We're finally getting a new The World According to Jeff Goldblum from National Geographic. It's going to be season 2, and we're going to get episodes 1 through 5 all at once. We're going to get a Star Wars special look, which now we have been confirmed is Book of Boba Fett, and a Marvel special look. I believe people are speculating that's going to be Miss Marvel, I believe, and more. But those are the big ones. We've gotten lots of stories about it. But out of all those things, what are you most excited for on that list of what's coming to Disney Plus on Disney Plus Day?
I think the Star Wars and Marvel special looks. Just because like I remembered just yesterday or the other day that like we're getting the Book of Boba Fett soon because I forgot about that, and I'm really, really excited. And then all the Marvel shows.
Absolutely. We keep getting more and more news about Miss Marvel, and it makes me slightly sad because it looks like it's a complete retcon other than her actual ethnic look and ethnical background, which I still think it's going to be good. But other than that, I would say I would agree that the special looks are what like is gonna draw you in. However, like if you're someone like me, you just stay on all the forums for Book of Boba Fett, and you've been given so much information. We do know that Ludwig, who is also the composer for The Mandalorian, is coming back for Book of Boba Fett. They also are supposedly not plot releases. Oh, we have the general plot of Book of Boba Fett. It's just a vendetta against everyone that's wronged him. But we do have supposedly episode titles. I am not going to say what they are because we don't spoil them. But I will say they had them as chapter based, and it looks like Book of Boba Fett is almost like a makeshift season 3 of Mandalorian, even though Mandalorian season 3 is now on the list to start filming. So it looks like it's like an interlude. It's this
Yeah.
this middle ground to take a break, which will be really cool.
I've seen a lot of theories where a lot of people think that this like the Book of Boba Fett was originally going to be season 3 of The Mandalorian, but they then realized how many people wanted to continue Din Djarin's story, so they walked
I
it
could
back.
see season 3 of Mandalorian being the last season,
Yeah, me too.
and you know
Sadly,
what? That might be okay. We'll wait and see. But I
we'll get
do
more Star
understand.
Wars stories, especially with like I think with Grogu and those characters. We'll eventually get more. It might be in books, it might be in comics, which
Yeah, well, we do know we have Ahsoka coming up in the nearish future. We have Acolyte, which is a High Republic. If you've not read those books or read those comics, highly
okay.
recommend. Especially when it'll be the first any on-screen adaptation of the High Republic, and plenty of others, and we know all about the Marvel. But outside of that, outside of Disney Plus, Bob Chapek giveth and Bob Chapek taketh away, as he has been discussing the idea of adding ads to Disney Plus. I don't even want to discuss this because it disgusts me so much. I wish Cam was here to kind of talk about it because I would love to see his reaction because I know he hasn't seen it yet either.
Yeah, I haven't. This is the first time I'm hearing that, and I freaking hate it. I almost cursed, but I caught myself.
Yeah, I read that earlier and I'm like, oh, he loves his money. I would do it. I would be okay with it if you cut the price in half, but keep my $8 a month or whatever it is for no ads. Why would I want an ad halfway through something? Just doesn't make sense.
I feel like, and the so funny thing is, I think about like our childhood where like there was no fast forward. Like you had to run to the bathroom and run back and get back to the couch before, and your siblings were screaming, "It's coming back!" And like all of that chaos. And now I'm just like, no commercials. They annoy me unless it's like the Super Bowl. Like, so that's just interesting to me that it's like I don't want to pay. I will pay to not have commercials when like 10 years ago. That's kind of common.
I mean, yeah, we can also talk Netflix. Netflix is the reason. YouTube used to not have ads. I remember when YouTube didn't have ads. Wow, dating ourselves. But I mean that's part of the thing where I'm paying for this service to not have access to that, and that's going to be the thing. I think one day they might add a live TV option to Disney Plus. Then ads make sense because you're going to have it be live TV.
Yeah, I
Not
think he was the one who talked about that. How he would like HBO did with Game of Thrones, like have it online where everyone's like watching it together.
Well, HBO is its own beast in itself because HBO is not considered standard cable. So you get that weird. That's why people love HBO because they're out of the reign of the FCC, which is excellent for so many reasons. That's why Game of Thrones, for some of the seasons, can reach that level.
That's a nice way to put it.
I didn't feel like being rude about it today. But we have I it's just interesting to see which way it's gonna go. But that's the whole point. I don't want to be like watching Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith and have Obi-Wan be like, "You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you," and then we'll be right back to your streaming of Revenge of the Sith.
Disney Plus.
And it has a little touchscreen where you can draw the Disney mouse yourself. Oh my god. But other than that, let's not talk about commercials anymore. Last thing, we don't even need to comment on it. There is now a trailer for the Muppets Haunted Mansion now on Twitter. Looks great. Looks like it's going to be fun. I'm very excited. You'll have a Halloween episode sometime in December.
I mean, I did hear Miss Piggy sing at LC Fest, so can guarantee her and Darren Chris have an incredible chemistry. So,
Good point. And also Kermit was on Masked Singer, so
yes,
they're just getting it ready to go.
really getting those promos in for the haunted.
They really are. But no more about talking what will be happening, and we talk about now what if. And as I've said it multiple times, what if Thor was an only child? And it's introduced with the Watcher, Thor and Loki, a brotherhood so strong and pivotal it would change the fate of a universe. I like how they say a universe, how he says a universe. That's kind of clever now looking at it. Their childhood taught Thor many lessons, but in another universe, instead of raising the prince Loki as his own son, Odin returned him to his people. Without his trickster brother to keep things, let's say, lively, Thor grew up as a very different prince. Uh, I remember I talked about this because like we kind of got general ideas of what everything was, and my what I kept reading was it was what if Thor went to Earth with his powers. That's kind of what it was,
Kind
because
of.
also Loki is the reason he loses his powers. If you think about it in Thor 1, Loki kind
Yeah,
of goads him into
part of the
going to
reason.
it.
I would,
Um,
yeah. I mean, he comes to Earth for a whole different reason. Like he's not like that whole the movie Thor. Just nothing happens that was there. We never have those events.
Yeah, exactly. So when we start this, and we're going to be doing the same thing we did the other day, where it's going to go over the main points. We actually see the montage of Odin giving Loki back to the Frost Giants, but then finally, when it all goes, you see that Thor is this big, kind of more chattish character, and Chris Hemsworth does lend his voice for this character again. We finally get to the modern times where Odin is entering his Odin sleep, I believe around the time of Thor 1. That's kind of what they made it seem like. And as this happens, Frigga, uh, alive in this universe, very much says, okay, your father's asleep. I'm going on vacation now. Behave yourself. And I'll see you later. Heimdall's going to be watching over you. And this is your first time to try out being king. And just keep going, and then Thor completely ignores it and heads right to Earth to party hard.
Literally right in Vegas.
Right in Vegas. Yeah, well, he starts in Vegas.
Yeah, true.
So what like this was a very happy episode, and this opening was very funny and very much like teen drama. Did
Yes,
this opening sell you right away? That's a big one.
that's a good question. I think in some ways, yes. I was so interested to see like what would happen. Um, because I was like, oh, okay. So if he doesn't have Loki, like who has he become? And the answer is is like a stereotypical frat bro. Best way to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it kind of took me a while to buy into this episode. I don't know why it did. Um, but I got there, especially the ending offers a lot more.
Yeah. I also think it really reminded me of like a Sunday or Saturday morning cartoon, like very specifically, because it was very just like, haha, so fun. Like there was like it wasn't as like here is the message, like here's like what is happening in plot. Like for a while, he was just him and some
Partying.
other aliens were partying, having the grand time.
Yeah. And we do also end up getting back the reemergence of Jane Foster and Darcy Lewis, as they're actually tracking Thor's arrival on Earth, and they keep trying to contact S.H.I.E.L.D. to inform them of an alien invasion, saying that they've seen the star get decimated and they think Earth is next, like with the pattern it's going. While this is happening, Thor and his party lands in Las Vegas for, like you said, for the party. And Jane and Darcy arrive in Vegas and start to be like, "Oh my god, first contact!" And Darcy's like, yeah, sure," because they're talking to everyone. And then you get this very funny, uh, big ass party scene where Jane and Thor just having the time of their lives, and they actually get matching tattoos. And it just keeps going, but there are so many blink and you'll miss it things, and we
Yeah,
had so many guest stars, to say the least.
yeah.
Who was your favorite out of all of them?
Um, That's a good question. Drax was
But
in
we've seen Drax. We saw Drax in the
True.
T'Challa one, so
We saw
that's the
Mantis
thing.
though here. She
We
didn't say
did.
anything. She was just floating around. Um. Oh my god, I'm forgetting.
We even saw Nebula.
Yeah, we did. We did see Nebula, which was surprising to me. I was like, wow, all these people come together really easily for a party. And what am I talking about? Jeff Goldblum. Like, what?
There
Yeah,
you go.
absolutely, that's my favorite. Oh,
Yes,
I lied. I'm
the
sorry.
the Grandmaster himself, doing the music, doing everything. I also really like Surtur coming
Yeah,
back, and they actually got Clancy Brown to come back and revoice him, which I thought was really funny as well. And I think the craziest thing in this whole episode was Howard the Duck and Darcy getting married in Vegas.
yeah, I was like, oh wow, okay.
And then the next morning, uh, they're all together in a big hotel room and get
Wait,
woken. Go ahead.
sorry. The tattoos, the magic and
Yes.
science. Have you seen the um like thing that's comparing it to Thor 1? So like in Thor 1, Thor was talking to Jane about like, you call it like science, where I'm from it's one and the same, it's magic. And they were like, that's why they got the magic and science one, because their love for each other is one and the same.
Clever.
Oh,
Oh, blah. And at the door, Darcy and Jane kind of like sneak up, and it is Maria Hill, who is the current acting director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and we find out she is the acting director because when Nick Fury goes to confront Thor, he gets knocked unconscious and into a coma by Korg.
I loved that. That is another of my favorite cameos because that was just so funny. And the fact that he was like credited for it, like it's so good.
So good. And it's kind of going back and forth where it's like, we know that you were the one that kept warning us about this. Do you know where Thor is? And he's in the apartment. And they keep going at themselves. And Jane doesn't want Shield to intervene, but when this is happening, Shield ends up activating the device. And this device, as we know it, signals Captain Marvel.
I
What
hope
did you expect it?
um yes, but I think, and as we go on, I'll continue saying this. I just like Maria Hill is smarter than the way they were portraying her. Because like it was very clear that Thor was in that room sleeping, and she was like, "Hardy har har, okay, we'll just bring you to our ship." Like it was just they played Shield very very dumb. Which sometimes they were, but they played very dumb.
Yes, and we also got Crossbones before turning into Crossbones back with
Yeah,
him voicing it.
yeah, it was good.
I was very surprised to see. I forget his name. It's something Greco, I believe. Frank Grillo came
So
back.
close.
I was so
Like
close.
this close.
But as they summon it, we go back to the party as Coulson has alerted us that the party is spread across the globe, and we see frost giants approach, and it's very tense and very very awkward. And we actually see a very Chad giant version of Loki coming up to join as he quotes his brother from another mother in France with Thor. That I was not expecting. Out of everything, they kept taking left turns. So
Yeah,
they
every
kept.
time I thought I was like, okay, I know what's gonna happen next. They were like, nope, just
No, you don't.
left field.
And while this is happening, Carol comes down, and we get a really cool fight. We get a general good fight scene initially, but Carol, you can tell, is absolutely holding back. And Carol actually loses, I would say, in air quotes, loses the fight because she can't demonstrate her full power. And Thor ends up humiliating her, continuously calling her a party pooper. Actually, does the thing where everyone's like, "Why can't you just rest the hammer on top of someone?" And he does that. And there's a very funny meme that's been going around for years. I believe it's from an older Batman comic. And let me see, I sent it to one of my friends, and this was kind of like a joke I saw multiple times. And it's a Batman comic where one of the villains dresses up as a woman and goes, "You wouldn't hit a lady, would you? Would you, Batman?" And Batman goes, "The hammer of justice is unisex," and that's what Thor was like to Carol uh,
Well, Carol
during that
also
battle.
did hit an old lady technically on a bus. If this universe has her storyline still the same, which it seems like it does. So
No, she would. Oh, it would be. Yeah, it would be the same, but it technically was a scroll. So,
yes, but it looked like that. That's the whole thing. That was my
uh,
point.
and but we know that Carol's not cannot really be injured by the hammer.
Yeah.
So as this happens, there's tons of landmarks that are destroyed in it. And the party starts to grow more destructive as we
The
go.
Statue of Liberty one. I don't
Statue
know
of
why that
Liberty,
made me laugh so much, but that was so funny.
yes, Surtur actually melts off the arm, trying to flirt with the Statue of Liberty. And while this is happening, we end up actually having back at Shield, Maria Hill's like, Fury said you're the best. Why didn't you do it? And very much in a Carol way, Captain Marvel goes, if I use my actual power, it's going to destroy a huge chunk of the world. Which she's like she's like more than a mini atom bomb. She's a huge atom bomb. And they decide to actually make a plan that will bring them into a big fight where people can't actually get hurt. And while this happens, we're going to have Jane try to actually right a wrong.
Well, also, before we get to there, she takes a phone call. Again, another thing where S.H.I.E.L.D. is stupid. She just goes over and talks to Thor on the phone, the person they're trying to get, freaking 5 feet away, and everyone's like, I wonder who she's talking to.
That's true.
What?
That is true.
That's why it's Saturday morning.
That's true.
Cartoon to me, because nobody's using their freaking brain. Everyone's dumb in some way. In every way. Everyone's dumb in this episode, is the best way to put it.
Very true. That's very true. And then what happens is, while they're getting ready to fight, obviously Jane does not want Thor to get beat up again. Tries to call Thor, and Loki picks up, and Loki breaks the phone. And then
Darcy, because he's so tall that when he drops,
it just falls and breaks. And Darcy comes up with the idea, like, why don't you just tell his mom?
Again, Saturday morning cartoon,
absolutely.
Hold on by your mom. The more.
Absolutely. Where while this giant battle again, where Carol actually absorbs Thor's power, which I thought very clever, very cool. That's not even the funny part of the episode, because Jane ends up traveling through the Bifrost to Heimdall to get a message to Frilla, or Frigga, saying all the issues that's happening and that your son is this, and then they end up saying, I told your mom she's on the way, and Thor goes into the ultimate high school, like, guys, we got to clean this up, my mom's coming, and all the people are like, why would we do that? Why are we going to help you?
You forget the part, though, where at first she holograms down in the middle of the fight between Carol and Thor is like, no, I'm in my room, and then like a polar bear walks behind him.
Yes.
And also, like, the part where like S.H.I.E.L.D. was like, oh, well, if this doesn't work, we'll just nuclear bomb him, which is just also a dumb idea.
That's a S.H.I.E.L.D. thing, though, because that's what they almost did to New York during Avengers 1.
That wasn't S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. prevented that. That was the government.
Well, it was the World Security Council that overlooked S.H.I.E.L.D., and S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to send the nuke off, but Nick Fury stopped the nuke. And then Tony Stark did. So S.H.I.E.L.D. was absolutely complicit in the attempted nuking of New York. Yeah. And my favorite line happens where it's like, you got to help me, and it's like, clean all the corners of the earth. And Thor looks around and he goes, but it's a it's a sphere. That, to me, that was the best part of the episode. That line alone. And while Thor is terrified, he's actually able to use his power, his kingly thunder power, to bring everyone in to actually clean up the entire world.
And convince his mother that it was an exchange program in which he would have syllabi and other things to show that he's learning actually, and it's a cross-cultural exchange.
And Carol helped.
And Carol
Carol at the end helped.
she got him that iPad that holds a lot of things in it.
That's true. So small, but with so much intelligence. And it's all going well. Frigga believes him until he summons his hammer to go home, and it's full of party supplies. You can never win.
Can't always clean up. Your mom will always find out. Again, Saturday morning cartoon, you mess up, mom's gonna know, you gonna get in trouble. That's the message.
Absolutely. And then at the end, to finally wrap it up,
That ending.
oh, this ending. So back in New Mexico, Thor and Jane are actually arranging a date together. And as Thor leaves, the Watcher actually starts to comment that this is a universe that lives happily ever after. But he is caught by surprise, and also to Thor's shock, as a portal appears, and which an army of Ultron sentries, along with an Ultron Vision fusion, brandishing all 6 Infinity Stones, emerges.
Which I literally, like, chills talking about that. I literally was like, what? Are we ever gonna, because like at the end of each episode there's been kind of this cliffhanger where it's like, oh, you know what's gonna happen next with the zombies. They were bringing the last Infinity Stone when Thanos, as a zombie, had the gauntlet with 5 of the 6. But like, I hope they address what this is. Also, before that, have you noticed in each episode the Watcher's getting closer?
Yes, I did know. I think, wasn't that a TikTok?
Yes, and this was the first episode where he was in the sky, but it was like him, not him being transparent, but his skin color, like you could clearly see it. He was floating up there.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, and I think we will get confirmation and closure to the Ultron thing. I just want to say I was very surprised Brie Larson did not voice Captain Marvel in this. Sounded like her though. I wanted to give credit. Alexandra Daniels, she did all right. She did good. It's just, of course, it's like the difference when like it's a cartoon versus live action. Sometimes people aren't available. But there are 2 episodes left of What If. I believe there's one more. So we've been assembling, I've been calling them now the Guardians of the Multiverse. And that's the Watchers that compile this group to save the universe from this Ultron Prime. That's what I've been saying. One more character that we're missing is the Black Widow. And I believe they've been like, what is it? They've been marketing her as like Apocalypse Widow. And my guess is 2 episodes left. The next episode, so next Wednesday, it's going to be her episode. And I think it's going to be what if the Avengers lost to Ultron and all the Avengers die except for Black Widow. And then, so she's the only one from the universe is this Ultron, because this Ultron jumps universes.
Clearly jumps universes because the Watcher was surprised.
And then the season finale, so the season finale of season 1 is going to be our Avengers movie. But instead of it being Loki, it's going to be the Ultrons, and we're going to get all of them together.
So Captain Carter, T'Challa as
Star-Lord. Yes.
Who's left from the They All Die episode? Fury?
Well, there's a Captain Marvel in that universe.
Okay.
There's
probably we don't see her though.
Yeah, we do. We see her at the end. She's like the end credit scene. Party Thor. Who else? Supreme Doctor Strange. So it's like a solid group of people.
But
like,
who from like are we getting Ant-Man's head from the zombie episode?
We might get Ant-Man's head, but we're getting Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be an interesting group of people together to see what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. And then we're getting to the thing where it happens every time, where it's getting close to the end, and they're like, "Oh, but we get Hawkeye soon," and then it gets very exciting. I'm very ready to get Holly and Jolly with Hawkeye.
I'm the Home Alone, Die Hard vibes that commercial gave, or that trailer gave. I am so ready for it. I can't wait. I never thought I'd be like, I was excited for Hawkeye, but like it was kind of lower on my list. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I mean, I am a big fan of the Kate Bishop Hawkeye, which is going to be really cool to see. But also, like, give him credit, maybe give him a send off. Also, we're getting Elena again You have not seen. Have you seen Black Widow? I
Yeah, I've
forget.
seen Black Widow.
It's
Yeah,
been.
look at on. It's my phone case.
Oh, nice. If you're watching on YouTube, you see it, but if you're listening, she showed her phone that showed her Black Widow ticket. But no, it's gonna be good. I'm excited. We're gonna get a season two, and I think season two will refine the issues that we've had with season one. But anything else to add about this episode or the show as a whole before we wrap it up?
I'm excited to see if it's gonna continue the like fun-ish things, or if the next last two episodes are gonna be very like serious. Here's we're wrapping up, and how the Watcher. Because I wouldn't be surprised if the Watcher ends up coming into live action, because you don't. I feel like they brought in such a big name to play the Watcher that I could see it coming into live action, especially as we go to the multiverse and have all these other things start happening.
That's a good point. I have been thinking about that for a while because they very much like. I mean, the Watcher. They didn't change him too much from the comics, but like, if people have seen Westworld, I know you have. Jeffrey Wright actually rocks a shaved head for a little bit as a phone goes off. As he rocks the shaved head, where he could definitely play. They could make him look like the Watcher, is what I think. But Megan is on the phone, so I will sign off. You can find Megan on Twitter. I believe it's Megan Brown. Let me see. I have it right here.
Sorry, I'm a professional on call at my university.
Welcome back.
My Twitter is Megan2298. That's where you can find me. Yeah.
Awesome. And you can find me at CP Robinson81, and you can find the podcast on Twitter at Stream the Mouse, on Instagram at Streaming with the Mouse, on Facebook Streaming with the Mouse, or our website cprob.com/Stream the Mouse. But thank you for joining us this week for another episode of What If. We will see you next week. And for Megan Brown, my name is Clifton Paul Robinson signing off. Have a magical day, everyone. We'll see you next week.